Hello, greetings, and Happy New Year to all of you. Welcome back to the BFC, where we go into the trenches of the trading world. We got a lot to get into today. Before we go anywhere, I'm asking you guys to support the BFC. Check out the Patreon link and join our private Discord and check out our new merch store. By the way, it's not just BFC merch, it's trader merch. Check out the link in the description. You're not going to be disappointed. So some of you are probably wondering why. Why are you doing a BFC Live an hour before a Bills game? Well, why not? so, as you know, tonight it's going to be a huge night for the Buffalo Bills. Totally excited, totally stoked. We're going to take on the Dolphins and hopefully win the division. I'm completely ecstatic. Let me tell you something. Well, Rob, let's pull up the probability chart. Let's take a look at this, all right? Okay, so as you guys know, all right, if you follow football, you know, the Steelers won yesterday. And I'm like, all right, this is going to get rather interesting. Well, today Jacksonville lost. All right, so we're in the playoffs. It's great. I'm happy about that. I just want to take the easy road and get home field against Pittsburgh. All right, that is what I'm hoping to go for. Now, listen, we have some really good sports out there because I threw a little Bills bet out to some of the biggest Miami fans on Twitter and in the trader community, Rickers, Ditsip, and Chris. Listen, I said right out, I go, if the Miami Dolphins win, I will change the Buffalo BFC logo to a Dolphins logo for 24 straight hours. I will. And if the Bills win, you know, you could change your logo to a Bills logo for 24 hours. And this is the poll. And most people think the Bills have the edge. You know, Miami's banged up with injuries, but whatever, you know, that's how it works. But, you know, I got to laugh here because Sip did. He already went ahead and did the inevitable. And I told him, I go, you're doing reverse psychology, bro. You know, I think he's sacrificing to please the football gods. So, and he said, nope, Miami is a dumpster fire. 8 of the 12 best players on this team are not playing. Impossible situation. Miami is soft AF, LOL. And I got to say, that just makes me laugh a little bit. But hey, you know what? If Buffalo does lose, if we lose, you did your 24 hours. You did your time, I guess, if you want to look at it like that. We have an awesome show for you today. We have 3 guests, and we're going to bang through a lot of new stocks. I want to give a shout out to everybody who has been joining me regularly, and a shout out to people on Twitter that actually gave me some stock recommendations for this show. All right, let's get into it. Our first guest of 2024, please welcome Trans-American Aquaculture, the CEO, Adam Thomas. Bring him in. Adam, welcome back to the BFC. How you doing, man?
Hey, man, Happy New Year, and let's go Bills.
You know, wait 1 second. You're one-upping me here, you know, but you got the Sean McDermott look going on. You do.
Well, that's genetics. That's not exactly by design.
All right, so I'm going to join you then. This is what we're doing.
There we go. Got to support the hometown
When in
team.
Rome. That's right. And so hopefully we actually have a really good game today. I'm actually excited. There's a stereotype that, you know what, we always eat wings, you know, during a Bills game. I actually do have the fryer ready because I'm going to bang out some wings. And I'm going to use some Who's Your Daddy sauce. No, this isn't a sponsor, but this is ghost pepper sauce, barbecue sauce, and it's really good. Yeah, so
nice.
Try it. Probably would be good on some shrimp. You know?
I don't doubt that it would be good on some shrimp. So we'll have to get that lined up here pretty quickly.
Right on. And so let's just get right into it. Sure. Let's recap 2023. Just give us a rundown of the accomplishments that you guys had over there at Trans-American Aqua.
Yeah, I mean, some of the big things that we did last year, you know, we harvested shrimp. That's kind of the first and foremost thing. We got approved by the Aquaculture Authority, the Coastal Aquaculture Authority in India, to be a preferred broodstock supplier. You know, we've set up, I think what we're moving towards here is a good relationship with the prominent supermarket chain that we're working with, that we actually are selling the shrimp to from our harvest from this past year. Brought on some new board members. We'll continue that trend in 2024, in early 2024 here, with a couple new additions to the board, and also a new audit chairman member. So Malcolm McNeil, who served as our audit chair for the past year and did a phenomenal job for us in terms of, you know, getting that audit done. I mean, the audit, you know, our financial audit took from February till the middle of August to complete. So that was no small undertaking. But Malcolm did a great job working with the auditors and with the internal team to get that done. But he's going to transition now into more of a more formal day-to-day financial management role within the company. So we're pretty excited about that. But, you know, as part of that, too, a little bit of a conflict of interest to have a day-to-day oversight and be the audit chairman. So we're bringing on a new audit chairman board member. And then, yeah, I mean, we're setting ourselves up pretty well for, for 2024. So, that's kind of what we wanted to accomplish. I would say more so than anything else was to make sure that the company can keep going, keep growing. And I think we're poised for in pretty good shape going into 2024.
How many pounds? How many pounds did you guys produce?
So we produced 150,000 pounds of shrimp last year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it was a little bit under where we were hoping to be, but that's, that was the target. It was the target that we had set out was much higher than that. But, the audit kind of being one of the big things that took so long and getting a lot of the financing lined up in relation to that, for us to be able to pull that together, we're pretty happy with that, pretty proud of that. And like I said, we're working with some pretty prominent supermarket chains that are very interested in the product. Some are already buying. So we're looking forward to continuing those relationships going into this year.
That's amazing. And you know what? 150,000 pounds of shrimp is nothing to snub for the first year. I think. Congratulations, dude. Seriously. Good for you
Thank
guys.
you. Yeah.
And
I mean,
it's amazing.
Yeah, it was one of those things where there's a lot of room for improvement. We'll be focusing on those efficiencies going into this year. And then, I think one of the things we've tried to do over the last year too is to show the scale and the scope of the farm, like how big actually the farm is. We used a small portion of that last year. And so, there's a lot of room for us to grow in terms of efficiency, productivity, but then also in just terms of sheer capacity. So those are some of the things that will be, kind of when we get into our 2024 harvest plans and start to bring out some releases around that and have some more discussions on that, we'll definitely, try and come on the BFC to explain those things. We'll kind of detail out those a little bit further about where we're at in terms of all the different things that we're working on.
Man, I got to ask you though, would you say is like maybe the one thing that you learned about that you sort of didn't know going into it? I know I'm throwing you a curveball here, but like if there's one thing that sort of opened up your eyes in doing all of this, not even just like trading, publicly on the OTC, but I'm talking about like right, the business side of it. Given your background and doing the shrimp farming, and which is in your family now, so it's your whole family's involved in it. What have you learned from the business side of things?
Well, I think we'll go with the shrimp side of things too, is that our farm, specifically where we're at, has a ton of natural productivity, which is that means that the shrimp get a lot of nutrients and a lot of things that come directly from the water and from the soil that are in the bottom of the ponds. So that's something we've been able to really kind of tweak the genetics on in terms of over the years and years, the different families, the more generations we have, the more accustomed they are to the farm. So we're in like kind of family 6 right now, and going into this year, we'll be in family 7. So they're starting to get really comfortable at the farm. And that's a great thing in terms of growth rates, survival, and, just being comfortable in the environment they're in. Shrimp are pretty finicky, and to build the genetics to have a robust shrimp is a lot more difficult than you think. It's not like, I found this out the wrong way, but like, it's not like buying a goldfish, throwing it in a tank, and then just giving it some feed every once in a while and letting it go. Much more robust than that. In terms of the business side, I think the biggest change for us this year, you kind of hit on it, was the public company. And before there was kind of, 12 masters to serve type thing, because that was all that was part of the former LLC of Transamerican. Now there's literally thousands of shareholders and thousands of people with opinions that, it's making sure that the ship continues on the straight path, even though you're getting all these opinions and all these thoughts about how to run your company. So we've got we're rounding out our board really well. With a lot of folks that have not just industry experience, but also public company experience. So kind of foreshadowing a little bit on one of the releases we'll have coming up here. But then as well, like we'll kind of call it our advisory board. So we have some pretty, we'll call it seasoned veterans in terms of running major public companies that are coming on as consultants or advisors to the company as well for this past year. So I'm really excited about focusing 100% on driving the company forward, and knowing that, the results and the stock and all that stuff will kind of tag along with it as we perform.
Right on. So out of a 10, what would you rate yourself, rate your production, rate the execution of the plan for 2023? If you had to give yourself a number, I know, and you know what, you are your own self-critic, and I know. So yeah. if you could fair and balance it, what would you give yourself out of 10?
I would say a 7. And now, when I talk about that, I just talk about all, like, from that perspective, the things that we had to overcome. We're still dealing with some legacy things from the company that we took over that we'll be looking to very quickly get out of in this year. But then also just like the audit, like everything that we, had set out to do this year took twice as long and cost 5 times as much. And so, it was, I think that was an awakening for us. But the fact that we were able to produce such a robust harvest, such, quality product, I think that's, we're starting to get it out in the marketplace now. And we've got some things that we'll be sending out to, some of our loyal fans and customers and things like that. But I think the quality of the product, what we were able to achieve, the headwinds that we faced, and kind of now turning those headwinds into tailwinds going into 2024.
I mean, the whole company must be ecstatic knowing that the product is going to be sold in supermarkets. I mean, that's freaking cool.
Yeah,
that you're going to walk in and you're going to see your product there. It's just like unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean that's a really exciting thing to be able to explain to all the folks that have made this possible this past year. In addition to that, the things that we've got going on in India, like I'll be heading to India next month to work on the broodstock program with some hatcheries and some of the managers that we've been able to to have discussions with over the last few months since we got that approval. So really looking forward to that as well, because that's and also another alternative avenue for revenue for us that, our main source of revenue is always going to be the production of the shrimp, but the broodstock is not going to be an insignificant piece that's going to help propel us and the name of the company globally. So, where we're really focusing on the domestic sales of the product because, the U.S. consumer, what we can offer, this gives us an opportunity with the broodstock to kind of globalize the company in a little bit more stronger manner.
Right on. Now, you've been to India before.
I've not.
Oh, you've not been. You did some traveling before for the company. Whereabouts did you go?
I'll put it this way. I was not within 12 hours of Dallas. I was working on a couple broodstock programs that we may be able to kind of come to the market with later this year. But we do have that the program that we're working with and the project that we're working with in the Algerians with our counterpart over there, Majid.
Wow.
So still working with him, but now there's some other things that have kind of bubbled to the surface as well through other parts of the world that we're starting to look to take advantage of as well.
That's awesome. It's exciting, man. You are getting your your flight time in, that's for sure. Your travel time, and you got it, man. You have got to send us pictures, your journey to India, and when you go out there, you got to send us some videos and some updates. We definitely want to check it out. Going forward, what is the thing now? We got the name change coming up, which is exciting. Yeah. So that's coming along.
Well, yeah. So
coming along.
That's been. I mean, if anybody from FINRA is on the phone right now, or on listening online, please take my advice and be consistent with your examiners. Unfortunately, we were making a lot of progress towards the end of the year, and then all of a sudden, I found out a week ago we got a new examiner. The examiner that was that we were kind of working with to get the name and ticker symbol done, is no longer working for FINRA. That's all we'll say. That's all the information they gave me. So we're looking. My understanding is there was just a few things outstanding. We had all those things answered before the end of the year. So hopefully, we're in pretty good shape going in here. But yeah, that's kind of one of the major milestones for the company. To get, Trans-American Aquaculture out there, really start promoting the new symbol, the new name. That's really something that we're gearing up for, and you're going to see a lot of marketing efforts put behind that.
That's excellent. That's excellent. All right. So one last question for you. By the way, Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you. Great to have you. What is something that you're looking forward to the most in 2024? The ultimate catalyst, the ultimate goal for TAA?
I mean, our ultimate goal, we set it out last year, was to be number 2. Whether or not we got there, there's a private company that we may or may not have exceeded their production for this year. They don't release their numbers, but we can't comfortably say that. Our goal this year is to be number 1. So there's one kind of company standing between us and being the number 1 producer of domestic farm-raised shrimp. Our goal is to be number 1 this year. I think, when we set out our goals for this year, that's number 1. I mean, well, along with being profitable, profitability kind of, and making sure that the cash flow is there to continue operations in the future. But our number 1 target is, we know if we become the number 1 producer of shrimp this year, then those things will take care of themselves.
Oh, that's great, man. I'm rooting for you guys. I think it's going to be awesome. It's going to be great to watch your company grow, especially being a shrimp fan. And I'm wishing you all the best. So seriously, Adam, thank you so much for coming on the show for this update.
No worries. And yeah, I look forward to coming up. We've got a lot of kind of all the things we touched on. We have updates coming out, whether it's going to be a press release or a targeted marketing campaign. Like, we have a lot of exciting things coming up in the not so distant future. So I'll be looking to, jump back on here and, monopolize as much of your time as possible. So appreciate the audience.
Seriously do it. When I say, like, I want videos, I want pictures of the operations out there, just the trip in general. Because you know what, when you're going on this journey as a business owner, and I'm not saying I've ever done this, but I could just imagine, especially when you're working in a global capacity, you're traveling all over the world, man. And so, I mean, that in and of itself is quite the experience and worth it, in my opinion. And so you're just submerging yourself in different cultures and different markets. It's just unbelievable, So I definitely hope you keep us updated on it.
I will do. And I appreciate all of, the support of the BFC, of you, of, all the partners and things like that. So thanks a bunch for, for keeping us in mind and for giving us a little box to stand on. So I really appreciate it. Looking forward to working with you and the team, into 2024 and well beyond that as well.
All right. That is Adam Thomas, CEO of GRPS. Now get this guy out of here. Go Bills. Go Bills.
Go Bills.
That was awesome. He's a great guest. Great guest to have. But we're not going to stop there. We're going to keep this thing going. By the way, welcome to everybody who is live right now. Welcome to you. Hit the like button, share the video, put a comment in the comment section, the live chat. It's great to have you. Now listen, for all of you guys that eat, breathe, or sleep eyeless or CYBL, you will not be surprised with my next guest. All right? Please welcome a fellow investor, a brother from another mother, and longtime BFC contributor, Jord Hugga. Let's bring in Jord Hugga. Jord, what's up, man? How you been?
Oh, fantastic, E-Rock. Thanks for having me. Happy New Year. Glad to be on.
You know what? And I couldn't think of better guests to start 2024. It's an exciting year. I know, like you and I have had a lot of conversations, in regards to trading and investing. And you know what? 2023, there were a lot of things that were a drag. There was a lot of people's portfolios took a shot, and it was not easy. It wasn't easy for a lot of us. But you know what? I do try to stay positive. I really try to stick to the due diligence, and I try to stick to, surrounding myself with people that share that positive mindset. And by the way, one of those people is Lisa Matthews. And Lisa, and I'm going to just give a shout out to Lisa Matthews. She's a longtime follower of the BFC, and she's a big contributor in the BFC Discord. And there she is, DD Queen, Lisa Matthews. That's your new nickname, Lisa DD Queen Matthews. And absolutely awesome. She's great with due diligence. If you're on Twitter, give her a follow. And like I said, join our Discord because we're just getting started, and it's gonna be a fun time. So, Jord, I got to ask you, your greatest success, because I'm gonna hone in on the positive. Talk about lessons learned, greatest success, and greatest opportunity in 2023. Let's recap it. Go ahead, bro.
So, for me, and again, it's always a game of perspective. Where some people will see the stock prices going down as something negative, I see it as something positive. So my greatest success in 2023 was the ability to add 5 times the amount of ILA shares that I had from the previous year. Not only was I able to add 5 times the total amount of shares, but I was obviously able to lower my average down significantly. And that was difficult. Watching your your share price go down to something you own a lot of, it's difficult. You log into your brokerage and you see that there's less money than there was the week before or a month before, and yet by fixating not on the share price, which is the one thing that the company can't control, and seeing what they were doing and taking it as an opportunity to exploit the very low share price to get many times more shares than what I was able to acquire in 2021 and 2022. I'm going to forever be grateful for that, because when the market recovers and when they uplist, QIND and announce the SPV for ERT, and then hopefully Hyperion's right after that, and then ILIS uplist, that, I'm going to sit back and laugh at these difficult times and just say, wow, I'm super glad that, I was able to keep acquiring shares and to keep buying more.
That's a great recap. Just how confident are you in Eyeless? Is what are you working on now? How confident are you in their vision and plan to execute this year?
I think that, very much like Adam was discussing a little bit earlier, is that we're all fallible as human beings. And so we learn and grow, and we just try to do better with that. Eyeless has made some missteps, specifically, I think, in announcing timelines. They're just not super strong with that. They'll tell us that something's going to happen, and then it doesn't always match up to what it is that maybe they were projecting or what it is that they were advised on, and then behind the scenes that we couldn't see. So I'd like to see them clean that up. I'd rather hear no news than have news be projected and then not show up, because I think that that's detrimental to the morale of the retail investors, which makes up basically all of the investors right now until we get institutional investors. But I think the big takeaway for me with them is that they've accomplished so much. I think we have 12 companies now under the umbrella. It's either 11 or 12. They've obviously had difficulties, as most companies have, raising money. Because again, when the interest rates go way up and, people are not willing to buy and your share price goes down, you have to sell more shares to raise, less capital. But the fact of the matter is that my belief or my faith in them is as high as it's ever been, because the only thing a company needs to do in these difficult times is to stay solvent, is to stay a company. So many companies are being booted off and put down to the experts and, basically just not really companies anymore. That the ones that can survive these difficult times, which is kind of what they're doing in building a conglomerate based around fire safety and rescue, as these are inflationary protected services and products, that you don't get to choose to not put out fires because the interest rates are higher, because the economy is not doing well. And so weirdly, but I don't think everyone shares this opinion with me, that I really feel blessed and happy that they did not uplist earlier when they were trying to uplist, because I think if they did, then that would have really been detrimental to the company, and it could have been potentially even something that could have knocked them out, just because their bills would have been much higher. They would have had much more difficulty doing what they're trying to do. And so even though it obviously extended the amount of time it took for them to accomplish the goals that they had set forth in 2022 and 2021, that I think that it actually helped them, and that obviously the rate of growth is lower. The amount of money that they expected to be able to get based on the previous interest rates and the availability of funds obviously went down. But now that they've, I think, very successfully been moving things around and making sure that they can do what they have to do, is that we're really just waiting for the SEC to come back with no comments and then announce the roadshow and do the uplist of QIND. And I think once that happens, it's going to reinvigorate the retail base, because one of the things that I find so positive is that even the trolliest of trolls still hold their shares, right? Like even the people that are complaining nonstop on the different, platforms, they haven't sold because they know what's coming. They're just frustrated and angry. And while I would never, be happy that somebody else is not feeling good or upset or in a difficult situation, is I think that really is the hallmark of the company at large, because if we didn't think that they were going to do what they were going to do, then everybody would have cut and run a long time ago.
I agree. I agree with that. And that's the whole thing about, and even just talking about like not wishing anybody ill will or anything like that, especially when it comes to shares. They're still holding their shares, and I'm hoping everybody succeeds at it. That's not going to always be the case, and I do like that Jason LA said it best, and you said it, and he's just re-quoting you: the trolliest of trolls still holding. But like you want people to succeed. That's one reason why we're doing what we're doing here, is to do, DD from the source, get people on to ask them questions, give people an opportunity to have that one-on-one with a management team or a director, but I do like look at it, and I've said this before, and if you go through many of my old videos, I want to look at my obstacles as opportunities And right now, 2023 was an obstacle for many of our portfolios. Yes, there were runners. Yes, there were stocks that surged. But when you tend to swing more, when you tend to hold medium to long, you know what? This is accumulation time, and so I agree with your sentiment, man. One thing I will say is that a lot of these companies, and listen, they're obviously there's share selling. There's people when shares hit the market when they become unrestricted, it pulls back on the share price. But a lot of the companies that I'm going to talk about even later, and this is the truth, and you could say what you want, their charts are very similar, and there is a full retracement. And if you notice in 2021, late 2021 to about early 2022, you had that surge there was just being pumped to high hell because there was a lot of government money coming into the retail world. And so it's just looking at it, I always remind myself why I invested. I remind myself of the due diligence, and it helps my mindset. Now, I want to talk CYBL. By the way, CYBL, I want to say this before I forget. There is a killer Discord. It's up in the link in the live chat. It's in the description. If you are interested in CYBL, which is tradable in the United States with one broker, Speed Trader, listen, click the link and join the Discord. We are working. I'm working with Didago. I'm working with Beast Mode. I'm working with Will. We are putting together a massive CYBL due diligence packet. And there is so much due diligence out there in the open that, it's very easy to get excited about. And I know some of you are thinking, I can't buy more unless I want to spend large amounts of money, and that's sort of the double-edged sword that we're facing right now. But Jordan, I want your thoughts on CYBL, and you're a shareholder, and so just go for it.
Yeah, I think that's a perfect example, because once the caveat emptor got put on, it made everybody very despondent, right? I mean, literally, there's nothing else, and I think that it's wonderful finding out the Speed Trader. Thank you for sharing that. But until that information was known, and I don't know exactly how many months, but I want to say 8+ months since we figured that out to be able to buy it, that when they put the caveat emptor on, it's a guarantee for the share price to go down, because basically what it means is that no one can buy it and you can only sell it. And so most people, and I think very reasonably, if I'm being honest, that if you don't have the ability to buy more, it doesn't really make sense to hold it and wait. Now, depending on the depth of your due diligence, is that we actually did hold ours and then we were able to acquire more. But by using either the share price or something like the caveat emptor as the be-all, end-all of health or the success of the company, I think that that's potentially very detrimental to long-term success, because, I think I made my purchases at 0017. And then the second that people figured out that they were able to buy the company, through these, separate methods that were not known to us at the time.
And by the way, that was Willow S. I want to give a shout out. Willow S is the guy that found that. So cheers to you, Willow S, but go ahead.
Yeah, Willow S is great. That the share price shot up to, 007, and I think it's hovering around 005 now. That I just keep laughing because the company keeps putting out these amazing PRs, and the acquisitions they've made and the value that they're adding. They have DoD contracts. They're listed on government websites. If you do the due diligence, then you can see that these are exactly the type of home run plays that we're looking for. And while risk is inherent in any stock purchase, whether it's big board or small board, small boards are inherently more risky when there's more difficult macroeconomic times or macroeconomic conditions. And so I don't think that this is necessarily the play that you want. If you see a caveat emptor put on your stock, I'm not saying to rush out and buy it. I don't agree with that. That's probably the wrong move 95% of the time.
I'm with you there, 100% agree with you.
But in this one instance, I really felt very confident that they were going to be successful in what they were doing. Having people like Brett Rosen, who's an investor, it lends itself, and even though we don't have the information, it lent itself to allowing us to see what was coming, even if we didn't know. Now that they've already shown that they've done a few of these things, like with Triton and whatnot, that it's so amazing that I think that it went caveat emptor at a penny, if I remember correctly.
Mm.
And so the fact that it's at half that amount right now and nobody can buy it makes me feel amazing. I'm still trying to purchase more. I feel really, really good about the company, and I think that it's a testament to you and the BFC and continuing to cover it when everybody else just cut and ran because they just didn't want to deal with the people pushing back saying, well, what about the share price? What about the share price? What about the share price? And that's an opportunity if it's a good company. If it's not an opportunity, then you're going to see the share price tank and go right down to zero. And even after they put the caveat emptor on, it really took a pretty decent. Now, the first day, I believe it went down to 0015 almost instantly. And then it had a little bit of a rebound and it went up a little bit. And then there was like the slow decline, like there has been with Eyeless and so many other OTC companies. But long term, when you can find these plays where they're grossly undervalued, that's how you hit the home runs. That's how you make the money in the OTC. I would not want to purchase it caveat emptor at 11 or 12 cents with their share structure right now, because I just don't think that the risk outweighs the reward, or it does outweigh the reward. But at the current prices, yeah, I'm happy to keep buying more because I feel like once they get the caveat emptor, removed, and it seems likely that's going to happen, that I think the share price is going to jump right back up because I think people are just waiting to buy it. Just like people are sitting on the sidelines for Eyeless waiting for them to do the announcement. Once they do the proof of concept with the QA&D uplist, there's going to be a bunch of people buying. But right now, and reasonably so, I think, after 2 years of the share price just like going down and going down and going down, and what could be perceived as mispromises, I think more accurately is just they expected it to happen faster based on the information that they were provided. And so, of course, when it doesn't, then people use the share price to justify, what's wrong or what's going on. And that's just not the way to do it. The share price should only be used as a metric to see what the valuation of the company is and whether or not it's a good buy at that moment.
Yeah, right on. And I will make the announcement today that I am looking to double my Eyeless position this week if it hits my price target. I'm not going to share any of the information as to where my price range is. If you want that, I'll give it to you in the private Discord. If you want to join the Discord and ask me exactly what I'm doing, I could share that with you there. But you know what? I do have I'm looking to add to my position and double it. Because I'm looking at this as an opportunity, and I don't want to kick myself in the rear end, in let's say 4 or 5 months, when things are moving and grooving and that uplist potentially happened, and I'm sitting there, I should have loaded up when I should, So if my conviction is there, I'm gonna put my money where my mouth is. And also, I am looking to transfer money to grab a big chunk of CYBL. That is the ultimate goal for me in the next couple weeks. I would like to get another 1 million shares. And so I will be utilizing Speed Trader for that. I'm excited to do it. So that's going to happen for me hopefully in the next couple weeks. And I just got to rob a bank. No, I'm just kidding. I am not. The E-Rock isn't robbing banks. I promise I'm not robbing banks. And we did lose Jord. I think his signal dropped off. He'll probably hop back on in a second. But we will all want more. Yes, I think that's a very well said, Wayward, and it's going to be huge. There's no denying what, like George said, what the company has done. They're on the DoD website. They're talking about, tens of millions of dollars. And I think that like with the Datron, and we've went over it on the show talking about Datron, and the fact that they have had just, under $1 billion, I think it was 870 something million they've done since, since 2000. Now I know the bear would say, well, that's only like 40 million. It's like, no, some of those years they had $150 million contracts with the DoD, which only a small percentage did they subcontract. I just want to say that if you actually read through it, most of it was not subcontracted out. So I think what's going to happen, I think what's happening with Datron and Ukraine and all these embassy visits and what's going on in the world, I think it's all connected and it's all going to bring revenue to the company. And no, I'm not profiting off of war, but that's what you invest in when you invest in a DoD play. So I'm very happy with their progress, and hopefully that CE gets removed, and we can move up and to the right, like Mark Schmidt would say. And by the way, I hope to have him on again, because you know what, he was a great guest, and I would like to have a follow-up interview with him, and this will be the longest amount of time in between a follow-up. Jord is back. Jord, I'm just going to keep going, and we're going to go talk about a couple other stocks. You're going to hang out for a little bit, right?
Yeah, and I do want to say one thing, because I was thinking about it earlier. Sorry about that. I got kicked off from the internet, but it's kind of fascinating, the evolution of the YouTubers and the people that are covering stocks, specifically in the OTC. Is that if you go back, 10 years or earlier, there was literally no positive or realistic coverage of any of these companies, or no platforms for them. Every single person that was posting or had anything on there had an ulterior motive and was really part of a pump and dump, whether it was individual, group, or otherwise. And if you look at all those plays, all you had to do was go look at any old video and go look at the share price, 6 months, a year, 2 years later, and it would just end up being defunct and there wouldn't be a company anymore. I think that one of the huge benefits today by taking advantage of channels like yours is seeing the actual officers of these companies come on and be able to talk and explain things like Adam did so well. Is they're not going to get it right every single time, but then when they do, 150,000 pounds of shrimp, and then all of a sudden, boom, they're hoping to scale it up again, and they're just going to keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. They're hoping to be the number one shrimp provider in the United States. That these are the things that it's really useful to be able to see, because obviously you want to track these, these metrics and these things that the officers say. But as you see them continuing to do what they said they were going to do, that if you take advantage of macro conditions that are outside of their control that push the share price down, all of a sudden, boom, you can actually alleviate some of the risk that you're taking and increase the amount of shares that you're able to buy at the same time. And I think that that's hugely beneficial. When we get to the next bull market and all the money starts piling back into the OTC, the people that bought the good companies that were able to stay solvent through those difficult times and then be successful in the easier borrowing times, they're just going to make a lot of money.
Right on. I agree. All right, Rob, bring up the IFUS chart. I want to talk ticker IFUS, Impact Fusion International. Now, this is the 3-year chart. And look, a little churning and burning here, just like doing its thing. Nothing spectacular. But if you look at like the different plateaus, I'm looking at this right here, and I'm looking at this section right here, of where it sort of just hung out. And so when you break this down, and this is the 3-year 1 week, all right, I'm just trying to give you a macro view of this, and looking at the chart, I did see a lot of action going on here. Now, I'll be honest, I wanted to get in at 12.1. I talked to the professor who is big on IFUS, Impact Fusion. And I'll tell you, I said, where would you throw bid support today? And I was thinking 12.1, and he goes, I would do 14.5. And I'm glad I did, because I got filled at that 14.5, and my order would not have grabbed. And so, it's been quite a run. And so, yeah, we had, I know it's a little hard to see here, but we had that cup and handle. I loved the action going on here. And let's go to the next chart, Rob, the next IFUS chart. We have this guy right here. That's right where the cup and handle, and you had all this consolidation, then boom, out of nowhere, we have this nice thing happening. And I love, this mark here, at 859, you could put in an order there, whether or not it's going to fill, or however many shares it gives you. That's one thing. But you know what? This thing is consolidating in that 9 to 11 range. And this thing's coiling like a snake. And the stock is nasty. This was at, trip zeros years ago. But it's not just that. It's not just the chart here. The company is on fire. And the next couple months are going to be absolutely huge, especially in regards to their India dealings and supplying cattle, 500,000 cattle. And I'm going to show you a clip in a second. But I like, if I had to get in here, I'm looking at 10. I'm looking right there. It's doing a nice job. It's coiling up nicely. And so, I'm very, very satisfied with the stock price move, but I'm also satisfied with the clarity of the company. And I love what Mark Walther is doing. Rob, let's get into the video. Let's show that video clip of Mark Walther on the BFC. This is a stock that I've covered a lot, but hey, we are up since I've covered it about 500%. We were up almost 900% at one point, and the best is yet to come with this one. There's a lot of catalysts in the works, and after we do IFIS, I'm going to have Nick Coriano on. So let's check out that video clip.
There's a worldwide hunger and worldwide starvation, and it's not going to get better. It's going to get worse. And when you look at Brazil, they're holding back on any shipments of soy. And you look at China, they're the second largest next to Brazil in the amount of cattle that they have, and they're just importing but not exporting. And when you look at China, China is excuse me, I didn't mean to say China. India is not shipping any more rice, and period. So they're using it internally for their cattle. So the group that we're talking to, they have access to what they tell me 65 sugar mills, and I thought it was 30. And they also have milk cows, about 500,000 of them. So what they're looking to do is to feed these cows, because there's not a lot of feed. There's not a lot of grain. I mean, Ukraine is not making. They're the 40% of the grain is manufactured or grown in the Ukraine. I don't see anybody growing grain in Ukraine. They're in the army. So so the fit is good. They're shipping over some sample material for us, because it's like I tell every customer, you have no value of what our product does until you use it. And it doesn't take long, just takes a couple of days, and you'll start seeing these changes. And so they're sending it over so we can make product with their bagasse and then ship it back to them. It'll only take me about an hour to process it, but it's a key thing that they need to understand the value. And when you're dealing with anybody in a negotiation in anything, customer or somebody that you'd like to build a plant in their country, they need to understand what the value is. And I mean,
when you're talking about 65 sugar mills and 50,000 cattle, now I don't know if anybody could do the math.
500,000.
Or I'm sorry, 500,000 cattle. Numerically speaking, and from a profit perspective, I got to ask you, what is the profit margin on if you have that contract, and if, like you said, it was the sugar mill output's going to be more than double than what you expected. Like the profit margins you explained last time are huge. So so what are we looking at numbers wise, give or take? If we if things go forward as we're hoping is going to happen.
I can't really tell you, because we don't really know. They wanted to come over and see our footprint. I showed them. I'm not showing them what is in Nutramastic. I never will. That's a key ingredient in what we make. The technology that's in our machine, they're not going to know that either. So what is the profit going to be? It's going to depend on sell prices. It's going to depend on what part of the chain of revenue that we get involved in. And I want to make sure our shareholders, that we make a lot of money on this. And so there's just all that conversation that has to be done. It's not going to happen overnight. And but what I like about it is they have the contacts. It's not just talking about it. They have the contacts. So if you have some of the raw material, like bagasse, and you're producing, well, let's say you're producing like we do here. Our footprint has the ability to produce $135 million worth of product. And that's at $150 a bale. So ultimately, what can we create over there? Don't know yet. And like any deal, it could work until it doesn't work.
And so I honestly think IFIS is a buy. I love the consolidation here. I know you like IFIS too. You're very happy about the stock and the company and what they're doing. So, but I'm going to keep things moving. So yes, that was a little bit ticker IFUS, Impact Fusion International. But our next guest is not an unfamiliar face to the trading and investing world, especially if you're on Twitter. Please welcome 3DX Industries VP Nick Coriano. Let's bring him in. welcome back to the BFC, brother. How you doing?
I'm excellent. I'm excellent. I love to see the upgraded production value at the BFC. Come on, it's impressive to see how you guys have been producing the show, man. How's it going, Will? How's it going, Eric?
Well,
Good, man. That's all Rob.
yeah, well, Rob has done a phenomenal job. Working with Rob, it's been great. Getting a producer, and I can't wait to actually meet him and shake his hand. But we've been at this for this whole relaunch, over the last couple of months, going back and forth with ideas. And yeah, the logo was all Rob. And shout out to Sam Scammon, who put together the merch store too. But I gotta say, the inspiration comes from people like you, Nick. I gotta say.
Oh, here we go, folks.
I'm serious, But I tend to think, people like 2023 sucked. But you know what? I look at it as a year of growth. I looked at it as a year of opportunity and learning and education. But you know what? In having many conversations with you on the BFC, I got to say, you've given me motivation. And it's just I'm learning from people like you. And so I hope everybody that's watching, takes something away from any episode or any interview, even if it's one thing, even if it's like, and this, Nick. If I have an interview and people are like, oh, I didn't like that, I didn't feel comfortable with that. Well, that's what this is for. This is about how you feel, what vibes you get from a company. And I gotta say though, I get really good vibes with Triple DX and Nick Coriano. So I just want to say, what was your greatest accomplishment in 2023, sir?
Ooh,
right?
Yeah, that's a great question. My greatest accomplishment in 2023, I want to say surviving. Just because it felt like one of those years, I think after 2021, and I'm half joking, right? But after 2021, when you have such a strong bull market, just to stay the course, on whether it's investing or whether it's in business, is not easy, and I think a lot of people will look back, and I think a lot of people dropped out in 2023 who started in 2021, and I don't like to frame it like that, but I know we met around that time, and a lot of my friends on Twitter or FinTwit, a lot of the shareholders from 3DX came on in 2021, as a lot of people do in a bull market, and now we've seen valuations come down to a more fair valuation, I think. And the hardest part about investing, at least, I'm 42 now, 41, 42, June 8th, 1982. You guys do the math, right? But is just holding on, when times get tough, and doubling down when valuations are more fair and better for your investment. That has always consistently been the hardest thing with investing, right? Is not so much buying, that's easy, not so much selling, that's easy, but holding on. So 2023, I mean, surviving was definitely one of them. The birth of my daughter the year before, so her turning 1.
And congratulations.
Thank you, man.
Different world, isn't it?
For sure. Just that's why I half joke when I say surviving, because it was, just operating with little to no sleep. God bless all the parents out there, man. It's not easy, but really in the investing world, it's more about staying calm under pressure. It's real easy when stocks are going up. It's super easy to invest. But when stocks are, going sideways and, the pressure's downward on the whole market, that's when you see who the real investors are. And they're usually the ones doubling up, not to get too off topic, but I mean, I just came back from the mall earlier today, and it's a 2-floor mall, Trumbull, Connecticut, for those who are in the area. And I walked the first floor, and there's 7 empty stores, right? There's 7 places that are just completely empty. And now you guys know, if you guys have seen me here before, I'm an entrepreneur at heart, so I'm there counting the stores, and I'm saying, well, there's an opportunity here. There's some kind of opportunity here. There's all these. So I walk downstairs, I see another 3 empty, stores, and I say, there's some catalyst here that will make this survive. And there's going to be an entrepreneur or group of entrepreneurs that comes in and takes advantage of this. And 7 years, 10 years later, you're going to be like, man, I wish I got in at that time, so that's what I'm seeing right now, with the general market, the general OTC market, just the general investing market in general, right? You're seeing a lot of valuations come back down, and this is what makes a great investor, right? Is when valuations come down, when prices go on sale, who has a stomach, right? Or the stamina to make those investments now, as opposed to when it was going up, because when it was going up, it was all gravy. I mean, I got here in 2021 at 3DX. You know, we were trading at 9 cents. We ran to 30 cents. A lot of hype, a lot of talk, a lot of fans. A lot of them are still with us, knock on wood. But now we're here at, 2.5 cents, and it gets a little scarier, right? Like you look at the graph and you go, oh man, what's going on? Meanwhile, the day that the bull market comes back, and it will come back, it always does, and we're back up at 10, 20, 30 cents, 40 cents, you're gonna wish you picked up at 2.5 cents. So I'm a big proponent of valuations, fair valuations. I saw a tweet the other day, and I think it might have been on your it was a comment on one of your tweets that said, I don't look at the financials in the OTC. Nobody said that, right? But and listen, fair, right? So some people are strictly chart traders. Some people are strictly speculators. I'm not here to tell you how to invest. I think you should learn how to invest yourself, but I am a fundamentalist, right? I'm going to look at the revenue, which our revenue is up this year. We the 2022 revenues were up off of 2021, I should say. Actually, let me double check that to make sure I'm not talking crazy. But my main point is that the valuation is closer to a fair valuation today than it was when it was trading at 10, 20, 30 cents. So I know that's a longer answer to, what am I thankful for in 2023, but just kind of a little rant there, man.
No, and I hope that you guys, listen, it's not, I hope, like, I know you guys are going to do the right thing. I know you guys are business focused, and I do think financials matter. I do think the fundamentals matter for the business, because I think in a bull market, it rewards the strongest businesses, and the businesses that you see doubling their revenue, the businesses that you see expanding, getting patents, and doing everything during this bear market and this pullback in the OTC, those ones are going to be rewarded when that macro money comes down, guaranteed.
Yeah,
and that's going to happen. Looking forward to 2024. What's something that, and because I know we're just doing a quick segment here, so I want to just pick your brain about looking forward. Triple DX. What's one thing you're looking forward to, not only just with the business, but personally with yourself as well?
Man, with the business, I'm really looking forward to exploiting more potential on the resin 3D printing side. We put a lot of energy and focus into the metal side, but just doing an analysis of where the 3D printing industry is in general. The technology's advanced so much that we've kind of almost overlooked the resin, the plastic 3D printing, because that's a technology that's now extremely perfected. Whereas the metal 3D printing, it's there, we can get it, we have it at production levels. But the resin side is so perfected that I feel like I'm going to see a lot more parts and orders come through on the resin side. So I'm definitely excited about that. I'm excited about some of the collaborations we have with, some of the team members at 3DX, some of the engineers that we have on, Peter Devone, the board member, and some of the guys that Roger brought on at the facility. And then, of course, the government contracting, we keep chipping away there. And I feel like we're going to bear fruit there in 2024, early part of 2025. So really looking forward to that. Me and Harold are going to a SBIC conference at the end of the month here in Connecticut to make connections. I think Pratt & Whitney's going to be there. GE Aviation's going to be there, and a couple other big firms. So really looking forward to just, connecting with decision makers there and chipping away little by little and staying the course.
That's excited, man. That's exciting. One thing personally, what do you have a resolution? Do you have a resolution
yes.
this year? More other than more sleep. It doesn't get better.
Yeah, I was about to say I'm not even going to put that on the wish list.
Don't do it.
Yeah, I put resolutions together every year, and this year is more to be more intentional, right? So to just move with more purpose and more strategy, right? So for those that know, I also run Servitude, the investor relations firm, and I think last year we talked to 25 potential NASDAQ and OTC clients. And then this year, right, on January 30th, I'm going to the 31st. I'm sorry, 30th, 31st, and February 1st. I'm going to the Microcap conference in Atlantic City, and there's 100 potential clients there. So in one day, I'm going to be able to talk to 100 potential clients instead of last year where I talked to 20, right? And it's because I'm being intentional, right? So being productive over busy, and being intentional about
I like that.
every single power move, because it's really easy to feel busy when you get up in the morning and you just do. But then a lot of times you look back after a month or 2 months and you're like, man, I didn't do anything. Like I'm not pushing forward towards my big goal. And it's probably because you're being busy and not productive. And that's probably because you're not being intentional with your time. So my 2024 resolution is to be more intentional with all of my actions. And that's from everything from business to my health to my family time, right? To time with my family. But yeah, that's my New Year's resolution, man.
I wrote that down. Being productive over busy.
Being productive.
Sometimes you're going to be busy, but to maximize what you're doing, so that way your productivity is on par with where it should be. And I got to keep the show going today because I have like 6 stocks. But Lisa Matthews does have a question for you, and I do not want to ignore one of my top TD gals.
Yeah, please.
Lisa, Queen of DD Matthews. By the way, that's your new nickname now, Lisa. Moving forward, will you be expanding the number of production machines, and is there any more contracts that you are working on?
So yes and yes. So we're always looking forward to, expanding the production capabilities. We actually got rid of one of our bigger machines, CNC machines, not 3D printing machines. We haven't got rid of any 3D printing machines. We're adding there, but we got rid of one of our bigger CNC centers, which is going to allow us to probably put in, either 6 more resin printers, 6 more resin stations, or at least 2 or 3 more metal 3D printing centers. So yeah, we're always looking for that. That was actually one of the things that I loved about the company, was that it had the capability, because it had so much machinery already and assets already. It had the capability, even in a plateaued environment where it wasn't making any additional revenue, to be able to either sell a machine and grab another machine. Right. So yes, the answer to that is absolutely. We're always negotiating there. We've had some conversations with obviously the largest suppliers in the space, whether it's Desktop Metal or GE Additive. And then we've also talked to some companies in China, which I think 2024, 2025, you're going to see a big surge of Chinese made 3D printers, 3D metal printers, 3D resin printers, 3D CNC machines coming from Asia. So yes on that. And then, are there any other contracts? Yeah, there's always contracts on board. I think I tweeted out a picture a month ago of one of the deals, one of the pieces that they're through the 3DX Twitter account. One that they're working on. One of the issues we've had. Let me rephrase that. One of the things that we've had to deal with at 3DX is trying to get the promotion out on what contracts we have without stifling non-compete or non-disclosure agreements, because a lot of these people want to make the parts and they don't want you to tell anybody that they're making the part. So like I had to fight tooth and nail to get management to say okay to us releasing that we're making US Navy parts. Like I remember I walked in the first time and saw US Navy on the part, and I'm going, why aren't we telling anybody? And they were so scared that the Navy didn't want us to know because we were a subcontractor. We weren't the main contractor. We got over that hurdle, but little by little, we'll be able to tell you guys more of the names of the companies. We've put up a couple of production updates in 2023 that gave you some of the names. We still have those customers, but yeah, we're constantly in contract making a part for someone or some company. But I hope to be able to share more of those with you guys in 2024 for sure.
What a great answer for Lisa the Queen Matthews.
Thank you, Lisa.
Listen, Nick, thanks for being a great contributor to not only the BFC, but the entire microcap community. I appreciate you, man. I really do. You're one of my favorite guests on the show, and thanks for the updates, and we look forward to the updates throughout the year.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate you, man, and keep rocking in 2024, man. I appreciate you, Will, George, everybody that's on here, man. Sam, Lisa, thanks for the question, but really appreciate it, man.
Right on. All right. Have a great year and get this guy out of here. Get him out of here. We're going to keep it going, man. I'll tell you, he is one of my favorite guests, man. This is a great way to kick off the year. Great way to kick off the year. 3 of my favorite guests. All right, Jordan. Well, guess what? The Bills game is starting in 20 minutes. We have a lot to get through in these 20 minutes. So I'm just gonna go for it. Let's talk a little bit about IGPK. All right, IGPK. Let's pull up that chart. All right, and yeah, I'm gonna do a little victory lap here. Now, this chart here, I actually can't put my mouse over this, so I have to learn how to do that for next time. Actually, I'll do it on screen share. But what I will say is, on the left side of the chart, I grabbed that 0007, and I got to take profits all the way up to that 0029. And then I've always liked that triple, and there's like a quadruple bottom on the 0006. But I love 0007. Got in on it, and look where I blocked off here. I blocked off that whole chunk. And what's sort of nice there is that was where the pink limited went on, and then the yield sign went on, and so you saw the drawback, and I was very satisfied with the fact that we had another opportunity there, because it was just it's just one of those things. So I bought it. I'm sorry, I have so much screaming right now. I can't even focus right now because my kids are screaming. So it's not going to be good for them. When I get off this podcast, not going to be happy. Not going to be happy. It's going to be a bad night here, but not for the Bills. Not for the Bills. So no, I like the opportunity to add there. But what I will say is, things are starting to churn along. We had them on the BFC. We did a whole tour of the cannabis, the distillate. And then what ended up happening is they ended up doing a reverse merger. And so, which obviously, I've reached out to Gene, by the way. I've reached out to Gene. He hasn't got back to me. He did say call me back, but you know what? I think he is under an NDA, and I think they have to do that until the lawyer's letter is uploaded. We're going to see where it goes, but there is a Chinese merger. And if you look here at the end of the chart, I marked it here. There was a little surge to 10, and then it just dropped off right to that 6 mark again. It did the same thing. And when I saw that, I'm like, okay, I see what's happening here, right? There was immediate support at that 6 mark. And so now we are consolidating at 0095, actually, it's been. So what I will say is this, if we are smart about these things, we're going to buy the dips, we're going to buy the pullback. But what's cool is this is a reverse merger that has massive potential. The DD, and listen, nothing official is out. There's nothing official out. And so I want to be careful with what I say, but I wait for those filings. I wait for the uploads. I want that new company to make that announcement. But one thing I will say is this guy, it is Master Picks. All right. This guy has been all over this. Crazy DD. And I'm telling you, like, he's all over it. So I actually put his link in the chat. You definitely, if you're on Twitter, follow him. Because, all right, when talking about Zhenfeng Huang's, I guess you could say, development for the plan next stage, we're talking 100 million users, 80 million entrepreneurial users to cultivate online and offline merchants within 5 years. 10 million, 3,000 platform regional service centers have been built, and 2,000 platform regional joint warehouses have been reserved. All right, and we're talking 10 billion yen. And so this is a lot of money. All right, and so the company is expected to have a market value of more than 500 billion. And is expected to enter the market of countries along the Belt and Road in about 10 years. And so, listen, I'm not going to go into it. You can actually go through and go do the due diligence and click on that and just read through. Do your own due diligence, guys. You have to. But I'm excited to see where it's going to go. Nobody knows where it's going to go. And so, but if this is what we think it could be, then this is a huge reverse merger. Very, very excited about it. All right, now that I got my clarity back, and that's, like I said, that's IGPK, so we've been on that one a while, so add that to your watch list. And but always happy to share. What do you think about that, Jordan? Just, we're on a time constraint, so give me a quick 30-second brief. IGPK reverse merger, go.
I love it.
I love it. He's like, it's great, it's fantastic. I think it shocked me that they did that. It really did. Didn't see it coming.
No, I mean, it's a shock, but again, it's potentially a very positive one for all the existing shareholders and anybody else that buys. So yeah, I mean, I love when stuff like this happens. I like Gene. I think that he was still doing what was best for the shareholders. And like I said, we still have to wait to see what's going to happen. But based on the due diligence we've seen from Eagle and other people, that yeah, it's looking really promising.
All right, we're going to keep things going here. Let's talk a little CDIX. All right, I have covered this one before. Let's look at the share structure. Share structure here. 748,000 market cap, 7.5 authorized shares, 1.4 billion outstanding shares. And about half of those are restricted. They did just update us with their quarter threes. 9.8% growth in the company's healthcare division drove 3.5% consolidated revenue growth to 3.4 million. 83% gross profit margin in the company's healthcare division, up from 64% last year. Consolidated gross profit margin to 79.6% for the quarter. Operating income increased 52% to 2.3 million, or 67% of sales, from 1.5 million, or 45% of sales in quarter three last year, due to a deliberate focus on higher margin business and disciplined cost containment. Net income increased 415% to 1.98 million from a loss of 628,000 in quarter three. So that is excellent progress for this company. Now, please note that they did announce a reduction in their convertible debt balance. Do they still have convertible debt? Yes, they do. If you look at the filings, I'm not going to go through the filings now, but yes, they do have convertible debt. So, but they did chip away at that. This says right here, we are pleased to be able to reduce our convertible debt balance with these payments. Key initiative of ours is to continue to simplify our capital structure to support our long-term growth. All right, so looking good. Now, there is one thing that I did find in doing the whole due diligence thing with CDIX. You know, sometimes you find these things, and what I found is that they approved a reverse split. And so, as somebody who brought you the stock, I want to make it clear to you that it's on the table to do a reverse split. You know, so the prior reverse split was not done, and that may have been due to a funding issue or whatever. But it says right here, in its discretion, to implement one or more reverse stock splits of the company's outstanding common stock at a ratio of not less than 1-for-2 and not more than 1-for-75,000 in the aggregate. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. So keep that on your radar. The company it seems like it's doing nice things. It's trying to chip away at its convertible debt, but there is the possibility of a reverse split. So keep that in mind. That is a little bit on CDIX. All right, let's talk a little bit about SFIO. This one was brought to my attention by SipDit. Shout out to you, sir. Now, I got to say, I'm starting to like the stock more and more. And Lisa Matthews, I know, is starting to like the stock more and more. Market cap of 4.5 million, authorized shares of 2.5B, and 1.2 billion outstanding shares, 500,000 of those being restricted. Here is one of their recent breakdowns of their quarter three. Revenue soared to an impressive 7.25 million. Gross profit reached a substantial 4.47 million. Net operating income demonstrated a robust performance at 1.47 million. Total liabilities recorded significant reduction from 7.58 million to 4.97 million, showcasing Starfleet's commitment to financial prudence. I like this company. Definitely becoming a fan. And it talked about, in alignment with its strategic consistency, and this is a word that, like, I've been reading through these filings. Consistency is the word I'm hearing a lot with SFIO, and I like that. Starfleet in Attack proudly announces expanded share buyback program, appointment of reputable auditor, results propel Starfleet towards milestones. All right, no, that's not a bullet. Sorry, I don't know why I read that, but so that is great. Building on its commitment to optimizing shareholder value, Starfleet will continue its share buyback program for the next 6 months. This initiative underscores the company's proactive approach to enhancing its capital structure and reinforcing investor confidence. All good stuff there. Let's look at here. Third quarter business highlights showcase global opportunities. And I just talked about this involving the repurchase of 100 million common shares. And they talked about getting non-dilutive funding. All right. So this is a pleasant thing to see, the non-dilutive funding. And it says, in an ongoing due diligence process, Starfleet is engaging with another 2 institutional investors for non-dilutive funding. This strategic initiative aims to support the execution of real estate projects and facilitate the expansion of Epiphany CAF in North America starting in 2024. That's the biggest, and we talked about it with a lot of these other companies, is getting the funding. That the funding is very, very hard to come by. Let's keep it moving here. And, it talks about their key challenges. This is taken right from their filing. The biggest challenge, and many companies have said this, I just said it, funding. It's hard to get, and the terms are not favorable for business owners or shareholders. All right, we've now secured non-dilutive funding for partners for various ventures, including real estate, electric vehicles, buyback, Epiphany Cafe expansion in North America. Stay tuned for details in the coming weeks. All right. And so it just goes on here. In the coming year, this is taken right from their letter recently. This is what their strategy is, what to look forward to. A new set of executives will be appointed. There will be an appointment of a new board of directors and advisors. This group is growing. Additionally, an internal compliance and audit committee will be established responsible for the NASDAQ application. This company wants to fly. And I'm telling you, if you look at the chart, actually, let's pull up the chart right now. Let's look at SFIO right now. Let's pull up. I think I have 2 charts there. Let me get rid of this thing. All right, SFIO, there it is. 6 month, 1 day. It just boom, 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 churning down, just channeling down. What's going to happen? Let's go. Do I have a 3 month? I think I have a 3 month. Yeah. So where's the bottom on this thing? Oh, that's the 1 year. I'm sorry. Go back. Yeah, this is the 1 year. This is channeling down. See, I'm talking before I'm looking. I know, because I know I did the charts. But here we are. We're still just getting it, just doing what it's going to do. So what do we want to do? What do we want to do? What I want to do is I want to buy it. But what I do is I want to see 4.7 break. I want to see 4.7 break, and I want to see it consolidate above the 4.7 mark. That's what I want to do here. I like SFIO. I'm strongly considering going all in on this company. And so that's where it's at. But it is in a downtrend. And this chart looks like many of the other stocks in the OTC. But what do? We don't buy the top, we buy the bottoms. These are the opportunities. These are the obstacles in our portfolio. They're not obstacles for us now because we could buy these profitable companies that are exceeding and excelling or even maintaining in this bad market, in this bad economy. All right, so you get rid of those charts. I just want to just share this with you too. And this just says something. All right, this was in 2021, but the company has hundreds of employees. All right, this isn't a mom and pop shop. This is a big deal. And I would love to have the CEO on one of these days. And so I'm just going to keep it going, Jord, because we still have like 4 companies to get through. But do you have any questions or any thoughts on SFIO? Have you invested in them?
Nope. Keep pushing, but I definitely recommend people look up their latest PRs because there's been a lot of good news about them recently.
Yeah, right on. Yeah. Their set maker said in the coming weeks. Yes, I love the in the coming weeks. Yes, that's one of our favorites, isn't it, Sam? All right, OWUV. All right. Here's OWUV, market cap of 1.6 million, 200 million authorized shares, and 199 outstanding shares. So that's pretty much maxed out. They may be adding. We'll see what happens. They have done a split 20 years ago, so there's nothing of significance there. And we have, they're unaudited and not SEC reporting. And Jerry C. Craig, CEO. Hey, Jerry, come on the show. And let's look through one of their PRs. We're extremely pleased. They just did a subsidiary of, they got a new subsidiary, More, M-O-R-E. We are extremely pleased to be able to announce that the agreement to become the majority shareholder of the More proprietary track and trace system. The More track and trace software was created and built for both professional and collegiate sports teams in mind. The software was specifically developed to help manage the current client base of over 1,400 pharmacies. Continuing on. And so it talks about how they basically, have served teams, MLB, NHL, NBA, and NFL championship teams, both large and small collegiate teams. And so it looks like this acquisition is going to be profitable for the company. We'll see what happens there. But one thing I want to focus on even more than that PR, because the acquisition is only so fun because we want to see what it's actually going to bring in revenue wise and profit wise. But this is what I'm looking at. And so, I'm looking at the gross profit here. Gross profit, July. Yeah. And by the way, I'm on DD Hyperdrive. Yes, I am. So hopefully you're sticking with me here. Gross profit, July 1st through September 30th in 2022 was only 160,000, and we've exceeded 1.3 million. That's promising. All right. Net income, they were operating on a negative in that same time frame, and now they're sitting at 717 million. All good stuff. So that is a little bit about OWUV. Actually, I think I got a chart for OWUV too. If we have it, let's pull up the chart. Okay, well, look, we had Pumparama going on in late 2021. That's an anomaly. No, I'm just kidding. It's not. So if you look at that, I did label that pump around. Let's go to OWUV chart 2. So this is where we're sitting at. I see a floor here. Basically at that 0071. It actually dipped hard down there. Let's see. Is this thing going to break out? I don't know. If it does, if I buy it, I want to see it above 139. That's where I want to see it. I want to see it above because it met all this resistance here. You could just see that resistance at that 139 mark. I want to see it break it, and I want to see that become the new floor. So if I'm going to go in on the stock, I'm going in above those levels at OWUV. And I'm not going to buy it now and say, oh, let's chance it and let's see if there's a reversal. Based on the financials and stuff, it looks promising. The share structure isn't bloated to high hell, so we'll see what they do. That's all I got for that one. So let's move on to our next stock. I know I'm going crazy today. I'm losing my mind. I'm getting excited for that Bills game that starts in 4 minutes. All right. No, we you know what we do? We always wait till the very end to make you bite all your nails off. But guess what? I did it. I actually just cut my nails. So I'm not going to be biting maybe I'll bite my fingers off if the game's that bad. But no, we're actually in the playoffs, so I'm not even going to be worried. But I want that number 2 seed. I really, really do. Let's talk YCRM. All right. YCRM. Here's the security details. A market cap of 3.2 million, authorized share count 2.5 billion, and outstanding shares of 350 million. So there's no restricteds at this point as of the 2nd of this month. And so eventually you're going to see that change, I would think. I don't know what they're doing, what they're going to be raising money for. Hey, you know what? I actually reached out to the CEO, and hopefully we sit down and have a nice podcast, and I could ask him all the questions, and you guys could ask him the questions that we're all thinking. So this one has been added to the watch list. And so, they had a split in 2022, 8/8/2022, a 1-to-150. And let's look at one of the most recent PRs. All right. Yingling Ice Cream announces acquisition of cybersecurity firm ReachOut Technology. Now, ReachOut, it's like a reverse merger, merged in. So they're probably going to be working, I would assume, on a name change for this ticker. It's not going to be Yingling's Ice Cream anymore. Yeah, so the president is oh my gosh, where is it? Rick Jordan. He has assumed president and CEO role, and has been appointed director of Yingling's Ice Cream Corporation, which obviously I think that they are going to change, obviously something more directly related to Reach Out. And so Everett Dixon, the outgoing director, expressed enthusiasm about the acquisition. We are fortunate to have concluded a transaction with an economically strong and vibrant managed service provider in the fast and increasingly important cybersecurity and IT space like ReachOut Technology, such a dynamic leader like Rick Jordan to lead the company going forward. Rob and I look forward to working with the ReachOut team throughout the transition. Let's get right to this, and let's get to a quote from Rick Jordan. By the way, Rick Jordan has a podcast. Check him out on Twitter. Check out his podcast. I like it. I like the way he speaks. I like his thought. I like where he's coming from. He's not coming from a woe is me, negative pessimism, not that whole area of life. He's coming from positivity, optimism, how to achieve success. How he talks a lot about mindset. And so I think that is, and he talks a lot about gratitude. And when you have a lot of gratitude, you tend to be thankful for what you got, and you tend to be more successful. It's sort of like that song, always look on the bright side of life. So this is a momentum step for both Yingling Ice Cream shareholders and ReachOut Technology. We are poised to blend our strengths and embark on a journey of innovation and growth. I am thrilled to lead this new chapter and drive forward our shared vision of excellence and market cap leadership in cybersecurity and managed services. So, and they are fully reporting, SEC reporting, and audited. And so, Rick Jordan, if you're watching this, I hope you come on the BFC and we could have a great conversation. All right. We have one more stock to talk about. Let's talk a little bit about IQST. Now, this is one that I have not covered at all, but IQST has a market cap of 28 million, authorized share count of 300 million, and an outstanding share count of 171 million. All right. Most of those being unrestricted shares, and they are SEC reporting and audited. Leandro Iglesias is the president and CEO. I would love to have this company on the BFC. So if you're watching, reach out to me, buffalofiresidechats@gmail.com. And so they had great news. All right. Here it is. They shattered their 2023 120 million revenue forecast, reaching 140 million. The company's gross margin also continued to grow in quarter four after the operating income turned positive ahead of schedule in quarter three. IQST, I think you say IQ still. For all you IQST fans, how do you say it? IQST, we're going to say this. IQST management plans to revise its original 145 million 2024 annual revenue forecast upward in light of today's announcement. The company recently filed a definitive proxy statement in conjunction with an upcoming annual shareholder meeting scheduled on Wednesday, January 31st, 2024 at 10 a.m. Look for more news coming soon. There it is, Sam, coming soon in advance of the shareholder meeting. Yes, they're having a shareholder meeting. This is another company that I'm liking a lot. And I want to give a shout out to the Big Green House, IQSD CEO. Yeah, he's just telling me everything here. 25 million market cap, probably never going to be over 130 million revenues probably going to be over 130 million in revenues for 2023. Profitable. They have an EV aspect. Yeah. So if you like IQSD, follow this guy. Share due diligence. Shout out to the Big Greenhouse. And he said it's been over a dollar once, and now it's 16 cents. And this is a company that's exceeding their value. They're exceeding their revenues are increasing. They're doing good things with the company. And so it's exciting. If you're a shareholder, you're very excited about this. And that, lastly, let's take a look quickly at the chart. If I had to get in here, what would I do? Let's see. I like the 15 area here. It broke that. All right. It broke that support. And so we're going to see what happens if this downtrend continues. We'll see where it goes. If there's a reversal, I would wait a little bit before I bought until I saw consolidation above 2551. That would be the first area of resistance that I would like to see become the next floor, or a floor above that. And so you never know where anything's going to land. You know what I'm saying? Who knows? But yeah, I'm liking this stock more and more. And so that's pretty much it. That's what I got. Jord, I know I was rushing, guys. I had to fly through this game starting, and we just covered a boatload of due diligence. And honestly, I didn't get to a bunch of the due diligence I wanted to share with you guys. But listen, join the private Discord. We do what we got to do. We'll look at the charts. We'll look at the filings. We'll look at all the security details. And we reach out to companies regularly. We do private placements. We trade on the open market. The BFC community, we do our due diligence. DD from the source. Jord, final thought for this awesome Sunday night.
You could definitely tell that there was a Bills game coming on, buddy. That was awesome. I want to thank Nick Coriano and Adam Thomas for coming on, both amazing OTC companies. I own both. I just very much look forward to 2024 as a whole, and I'm a proud member of this community. I love the Discord. Like I said, it's small, but it's got a great group of people. And I can't wait to see what all of our due diligence, hard work, investing, and faith in these companies is going to provide us in the upcoming years, because, these people keep coming on and they never cease to impress. They're always just coming up with new information and new stuff going on. The updates from Nick were amazing. Adam Thomas with 150,000 pounds of shrimp, getting ready to do some more in the future. Like I said, it's just really, really amazing. And thank you so much for all you do. Rob, thanks for the incredible, production values. And let's just keep getting bigger and bigger and making more and more money this year and into the next.
It's going to be a good year. You got to tell yourself that, but you got to make it happen. Beethoven, one of my favorite composers, said, grab fate by the throat. I say, grab the bull by the balls and let's ride and let's get it. This is the year of the BFC. Thank you, Jord, for coming on. I truly appreciate you. Thank you, everybody, for joining me on the Sunday Night Live. Join the Discord, hit a like, hit the share button. Email me at buffalofiresidechats@gmail.com. Give me some suggestions. Hit me on a DM. Give me some stocks to cover. Let me know who you would like to see on the show, because this is all about due diligence. DD from the source, the BFC. That's all I got. Remember, there is more that binds us than breaks us. You guys have an awesome day. Go Bills. Peace out, guys.